Hey, it's BrowncoatNerd. Today we've got a review on the Zastava M70. Seen these pop up a whole bunch, specifically from Classic and AIM Surplus. This particular one did come from Classic. You have a $10 hand select fee. I opted out this time. If you saw my last review on the CZ50, I paid, I believe, $15 or $20 for hand select. And I ended up getting one with practically no blowing. Now, the gun functioned just fine. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. It's actually been a great little gun. But it's definitely not a hand select firearm there. So this one, I decided not to do that. The few videos that are out there, it seems that these are all coming in pretty good shape. Also, when you get this, it is completely caked in Cosmoline. You can see some still kind of seeping out. I haven't cleaned this back up since I shot it last. So paying someone an extra $10 to pick the best cosmetic handgun that is completely caked in grease is almost just kind of a waste of time, because they're not going to be able to tell through all that crud. So the features of this gun, it's a lot of people compare it to the Tokarev. It's very much like a Tokarev. It's single action only, so you have to have the hammer back, and this is kind of a big sized hammer. And it'll be in the way of the sights to remind you if it is not down. These sights, they're not as suppressor ready looking as the Tokarev here. This is a Polish Tokarev. So they're a little smaller than that and a little bit bigger than what you're going to find on like the CZ50 or the P64. So they're not bad for, the kind of gun that this is. These are used, by the way, by the Yugoslavian police. They're also sold on the commercial market. Apparently they're very popular there. It's kind of a very cost-efficient handgun. And these are still made currently in Yugoslavia. And it would be kind of nice if they started importing them, because this one is chambered in 32 ACP, or as they call it, 7.65. But they also make these for the commercial market chambered in 380. And I think this would be a pretty fun little gun in 380. It's got an 8-round magazine that does not drop free, and that's going to be because, and a lot of people hate this about this gun, it has a magazine disconnect. The magazine disconnector, I did find a video on how to remove that. It's extremely easy, but you essentially just kind of break it off. It's not something that's easily reversible. And I really doubt I plan on ever carrying this gun, so I'm probably just going to leave it as is, because I like to try to keep them original, or at least easily, be able to put it back to its original specs. Comes with an 8-round magazine, and this magazine is actually really nice and well built. I was rather impressed with that. If you buy this from Classic, this came with 2 of those magazines. The other magazine's still caked in Cosmoline. Also comes with this leather holster. It's very well broken, but it's still in good shape. There's no tears, there's no fraying or anything. It's really nice, soft and leathery. But your typical holster, once again, for this style of gun. The one of the drawbacks of this, at least on my example, is some of the edges of this gun. You would definitely have no issues racking this slide if you're wearing gloves, because these serrations are freaking razor sharp. If you're having issues and a lot of malfunctions and you're having to clear it a bunch, your fingers are probably going to get chewed up. So you definitely have some positive traction on that slide there. So, I mean, it wasn't really an issue for me, but it's something to kind of be aware of. Also on this trigger here, now I'm right-handed, so it didn't affect me at all. They've kind of crudely cut some grooves in here. This side, it's all nice and smooth, which is where my finger would be. However, on this side, it's got like a razor sharp lip. So if you're a lefty, that's definitely going to chew you up throughout the day. Now, I've taken this out only once through the shooting range, and we shot less than 50 rounds through it, so not a whole bunch. But me and 2 of my friends, we shot this, had no issues with that whatsoever. We're all right-handed. And I can almost already picture what happened at quality control at Zastava. You know, gun comes down the line, guy checks it to make sure everything's smooth. He's right-handed, of course. Oh, yep, it's good, and sends it along its way. So, and of course, that's probably going to vary from gun to gun, but just know there might be some rough edges. And this trigger guard as well, it's not quite sharp, this edge here, but it's really close to kind of being a razor sharp edge, but it's not too bad. The safety was actually installed by Zastava. You'll see a lot of their guns and the other Tokarev style guns come in, and for whatever reason, our import laws in the United States requires these stupid style of safeties. And all the guns on screen and off screen off to my side here have been safety checked. But you get these ugly things, and you have to cut into the grip, and they're just freaking hideous and stupid because Tokarevs have a half cock. Put in a half cock position, it completely is going to lock it up. So, anyways, while we're speaking of half cock, I've said that a lot, that's weird. The M70 does not have that feature. You know, you can either have the hammer forward with the safety on, and that will lock up the slide, or, you know, hammer back, safety on. So I took this out shooting, like I said. It is a pretty fun little gun, pretty accurate. I've got small hands, and this grip I can only fit 2 of my fingers on, and my hands are small, so if you have big hands, this might definitely be a little awkward for you to hold. But it's 32 ACP. They really don't have a lot of kick, and this is all steel construction, so what kick it does have, it pretty much completely eats it up, which is part of the reason it's so fun to shoot. I didn't find it uncomfortable at all with just my 2 fingers on there, so that was... I thought, when I held this, I was like, this isn't going to be the most comfortable to shoot, but it was no issue at all. It didn't have any malfunctions in way of failures to extract or failures to feed, but we did end up having 3 light strikes. At first, we had 2 light strikes with the Aguela, and I've shot this a bunch through the CZ50, and accuracy-wise at least, the CZ50 likes this more than the Winchester White Box. And the CZ50, I've had 0 malfunctions with any of the ammo I've shot through it. So I was thinking, well, okay, maybe this isn't the best ammo. I did have this. Yeah, I know, it's jacketed hollow point. I saw this, I think, at Cabela's, and I was kind of shocked that they made jacketed hollow point. So I bought it mostly out of curiosity. But shot some of this. It fed the hollow points just fine, so if that's something you're interested in carrying, I guess that will work for you. But we did end up having 1 light strike with this stuff as well. I then took those rounds and fed them through the CZ50, all 3 of the light strikes. CZ50 fired them just fine. Now, it's probably due to the fact, like I said, this thing was completely caked in Cosmoline. I did not break the slide all the way down. I did not take the firing pin out and clean it. So there's probably some gunk built up in the firing pin that's slowing it down, or not, you know, allowing it to quite travel all the way every once in a while. Like I said, we shot less than 50 rounds to this gun, and we had those 3 light strikes. So eventually, at some point, I definitely will have a follow-up video as to whether this gun is still doing that or not. I'm gonna just have to break down the slide completely and clean that out. And also I'm going to try to find some different brands of 32 and shoot those through this next time to see if we get any different variations on that. So that's kind of a bummer, but once again, I'm not really planning on carrying this gun, so that's not a huge issue. I just kind of wanted this for the collection. I haven't seen these pop up too much at all, and so I kind of wanted to jump on it while they're nice and cheap and while they're available. And I just kind of discovered 32 ACP with that CZ50, and I don't know why, but it's just a really fun little, you know, pud round to shoot around with. And in case if anyone's curious as to what a little baby hollow point looks like, I did find a video. They do have some kind of fancy penetrator round out there. I think it's an all copper bullet, and it's designed to tumble. A guy did a gel test on that, and I was actually fairly impressed with that. So if you do plan on carrying a 32, first off, I'd recommend at least going up to a 380. But if you do, definitely look into those penetrator rounds. They had actually impressive cavitation. But with the little PPU hollow point here, that's what that guy looks like. I don't even know if that would expand, you know? It might just be slowing the bullet down more than anything. But anyways, I was curious. I saw it. Just wanted to know if the guns would feed hollow points. And so far, both the CZ50 and this one fed them just fine. Like I said, they said that one might strike with the hollow point. Now, getting to the comparison of the Tokarev, a lot of people, and rightly so, compare this to the Tokarev. Now, this is a Polish Tokarev. It's not the Yugoslavian Zastava Tokarev that they make. Theirs has a slightly longer grip, but other than that, they're essentially the same. The overall design of the gun is definitely influenced by the Tokarev. I mean, this takedown lever is definitely just a miniature version of that. But a lot of people will say mechanically this is the M70 is a miniature version of the Tokarev. Now, my problem with that, and I think I've seen at least one or two other videos kind of addressing this, is on the Tokarev, it's got a short recoil locking breech barrel, which means I got a safety on, don't I? Oh, I'm on half cock. Ha! Look at that. The surplus safety worked. You just need the half cock. You don't need these stupid things. I don't understand that. Anyways, rant is over. You'll see that barrel drop down, and it's locking into place. That's your tilting barrel. And correct me if I'm wrong. I might be misspeaking on some of this, but you guys will be able to follow what I'm saying here in a second. Now then, the old M70, the barrel does not drop or tilt. The reason being, I believe, this is a direct blowback. And a lot of people aren't really bringing that up, and they're just saying it's a smaller Tokarev. Now, I also have a book, and I closed it. But this book, and I have found some inaccuracies in this book, but it also mentions that it's a tilting barrel. Also says it holds 8 rounds. I can only get 8, or excuse me, also the book also says it holds 9 rounds. I can only get 8 rounds in here. Now, one time at the shooting range, I realized somehow I ended up loading 9. I tried doing that again, and it was just a complete barrier not happening. So, the designs are definitely inspired by the Tokarev. The Tokarev is a, your typical Cold War Russian utilitarian-built gun. The trigger mechanism drops in. This trigger mechanism drops in. The grip panels have a weird, little sliding slot doohickey. These are set up the same way. But at the end of the video, if I remember, I'll take this barrel out. The Tokarev, it's got locking lugs on the barrel. It's got some locking lugs right here that lock it into place with a slide. This barrel is just completely smooth. Now, I think it's kind of the same situation we have with our old Bread 85. A lot of people think this is just a miniature 92. The 92 has locking lugs on the barrel. You can see right there. This guy is actually just a blowback. I really need to get a tripod, right? Barrel does not drop at all. Now, the reason this throws a lot of people off is your typical blowback. This is a Makarov here. Your typical direct blowback handgun, the barrel is fixed to the frame like this. And it will use the barrel as actually kind of the guide rod for the recoil spring. Now, this is a blowback, but as you can see, it's got a guide rod, and that does have the spring. And this barrel actually comes off with a slide. But when you put the teardown lever back in place and get everything back in there, it locks it into place on the frame. And, this also has the guide rod with the Tokarev from 1911-esque, brain farting here, barrel lug. It has a guide rod and all that, but the barrel kind of locks into place. So, alright, let's do this right now before I forget. Bear with me, folks. Eventually, at some point, I will get a tripod. see if I can do this without my punches. Survey says no. We're doing it though. We're going to do this. We're going to do it together, and we're going to accomplish this. Crap, guys. I think we might be failing today. Arg. Okay. We'll watch other videos where they tear down the M70, and you will see the barrel is actually smooth on this. There's no locking lugs up here. And then the Tokarev, it's got a little pivoting barrel lug below it. This just kind of has a solid block that locks into the frame. So yeah, there you go. Sorry about that, guys. Overall, I've been pretty happy with this gun. I mean, I've just been kind of buying up Zastavas a lot lately for some reason. And these I haven't seen on the market a whole bunch. I decided 32 is kind of a fun little round. So I wanted to have at least 2 guns that shot it. So this is what I got. And I don't know if I pointed out, but the serial numbers do match on this. The frame, the slide, and the barrel. We got the roll mark saying made in Yugoslavia, which is, of course, Zastava is now in modern day Serbia. It's a little crooked, too, which is interesting. And then you see the import mark right there by R Guns. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do a proper import mark. Thank you, R Guns. You guys are awesome. The other side here, I'm not going to even attempt to pronounce the C. Zastava, caliber. It's got the little CZ logo down here. And a lot of people do get kind of thrown off on these. They think they're CZs, especially the Zastava CZ 99.9 or whatever it's called. But these are not the Czech CZ. That's just kind of the full name of the Yugoslavian or Serbian Zastava manufacturer there. So overall, this is a pretty fun little gun. The price, which, what was that? I paid $250 for this. I wouldn't pay any more than $250 for this, is my honest opinion. But that aside, it is still a fun little gun. Like I said, it comes with 2 magazines, the holster. Classic does offer spare mags as well. I think they're a little under 20 bucks. So if you need more than 2, that is an option out there for you as well. Alright guys, that's all I've got for you on the Zastava M70. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.